everybody, it's Just Us Baileys. And last week we went to a couples conference at our church and it was really awesome. What was the theme?
The thing beneath the thing.
So the speaker was sharing that when we argue with our spouses, what often happens, it's scramble. As you know, we said it's the thing beneath the thing, but he gave 7 ways that childhood trauma shows up in relationships. And we're going to share those 7 things.
The first thing is, am I safe? Now, this means physically and emotionally.
Yes. So one of the examples that he shared was experiencing childhood trauma as a kid and actually having a conversation with his parents about what he experienced. So what happened is there was no follow-up in the conversation. So he doesn't know if anything ever happened, but the one thing that he does know, since nobody ever talked to him about it, is that he never felt protected again and never felt safe.
And the way that showed up for him was he always had to be in control of his environment.
And sometimes he said even if he was at a restaurant, he had to sit in a specific place, like he didn't want his back to the door. And we thought that was so interesting because usually when we hear a story like that, it is, in mob movies, somebody sitting, making sure that their back is not to the door. But it's for the same reasons. It's because the people that they trust to guard and protect them, they feel like somebody's not going to do the thing that they're supposed to do. And so they have to always be aware of danger.
The way that this can show up for you is make you feel uncomfortable and not safe, and it may cause you to lash out.
And your partner may not even know what you're upset about.
Yeah.
And the second factor is,
am I secure? And this is one of the leading factors of couples getting divorced.
and security for a lot of people is financial security. And so what often happens, one or more of the people that are in the relationship are very insecure because of how they were raised. It may be that they had to, leave places because they couldn't afford to pay the rent, so they didn't have a steady home life, or maybe there was food insecurity. There's so many things. And so even when a person becomes very successful, it doesn't mean that the feeling that they had as children has actually left. The trauma is still there. So even when it looks like to their partner, like, we're doing good, we're doing really well, like, why are we penny pinching on everything? And it's because the person who they're with has not expressed that the fear of not having makes me frightened because it takes me right back to that childhood trauma.
Yeah. And number 3 is, am I loved? The need to be seen, heard, and known.
Now, this is one that so many people have, even if they're not aware of it. And particularly if you are a middle kid, this is something that probably affects you. And I'm going to be completely transparent here. I didn't realize until much later in life that this is one of the traumas that I had. And let me just say, I had amazing parents. But birth order has a lot to do with it, or can have a lot to do with it. For instance, I am one of 4 children. I have an older sister. Next in line is a brother. He's the only boy. And then I had a younger sister. And I felt like many times I was somewhere floating in the middle. And so one of the things that I did to combat that as a child without even knowing is that I became very accomplished. So I got really good grades. I worked hard at everything that I did. I did pageants. I did shows. Anything that would make my parents proud of me. So sometimes it wasn't just fun things to do for the sake of having fun, but fun things that I did do that were rewarding, but it was for the sake of making sure that my parents saw me. So even if it didn't feel like trauma in the moment, it put me on the path of always feeling like I needed to be accomplished. And again, this is something that's very typical in families where there are lots of children, and it usually involves the children who are in the middle.
Now it's my turn to be transparent. Number 4 is, am I wanted? And this one I want to read to you because I want to get it right. It's the need to feel accepted, pursued, and to belong. No one wants to be rejected.
Nobody wants to be rejected.
Imagine talking to your spouse about something small and they say no. And it brings back all those childhood memories and the conversation just blows up. And number 5 is, am I successful? That's the need to feel appreciated.
I think this one is probably one of the more common ones that a lot of people experience. And I don't think that it's just perpetuated from childhood. I think society just sort of endorses that. that in everything that you do, you have to have like tangible wins. And so we'd like to hear people say, well done, you did a good job, instead of knowing, within ourselves that we're doing the best we can and that we have done well. So again, just, wanting to have that question answered again and again by the spouse or even sometimes our children. Am I successful? Am I doing enough?
And it's triggering when you don't hear it.
It's triggering when you don't hear it, when nobody's ever said to you, you did a good job.
No.
And number 6 is,
am I good enough? The need to be valued and affirmed.
now the speaker said that this is one that is very common, and very often it comes from childhood trauma because no one affirmed the child. Nobody said, I'm proud of you. And it happens more often than we think about. And so imagine again your spouse not knowing that you didn't get this kind of affirmation as a child. And so it pulls on a lot of people to hear it constantly, which can be very taxing on a spouse. So if somebody's really working hard and they're doing a good job, you may not know that they need to hear, I appreciate what you did. I appreciate the extra time that you put in. I appreciate you coming to my thing after you've worked so many hours this week. So again, you have to tell the person what it is that causes you to be triggered by not feeling valued, so they'll have a fair chance to work it out with you.
And if that partner doesn't hear it, here comes the argument.
And the last one, and number 7, is,
do I have purpose?
so this for a lot of people means that I have to make impact in some way. And the thing that the speaker said that I thought was so interesting is that a lot of believers, a lot of people who go to church often deal with this kind of trauma because they feel like they have to make impact in a huge way. When in fact, sometimes making impact means being a very good mother or a very good dad. It means being a faithful partner, that your partner can rely on you. So way too often we think about huge impacts in the world, and we can do those things too. But very often it can just mean living a life that you love, that you're dedicated to, and being a good example, even in your own household. It doesn't mean doing these huge, gigantic things that other people outside of your family may praise you for. So those 7 things were the kind of trauma that could really cause issues in a relationship, things that may be even unbeknownst to you. And so if you don't know what they are, then certainly your spouse may not know what it is. So after this conference, there was so much for us to talk about. You could tell from the group of people, about 3,000 of us, 1,500 couples that were in this conference. In the building, it felt very emotional, where people were having these aha moments that it's not my spouse, it's something that I'm working through. So we got an opportunity to go out to dinner. We sat outside on the patio and just had one of the best conversations ever.
So the next time you find yourself in an argument over something that started off very small and blew up, you need to ask yourself, why did I get so angry?
And just make sure that it's not the thing beneath the thing.